3 says, does this man destroy feminism? This came with a link, of course. Taking us to YouTube. Let's check it out and then we'll discuss it.
Dropping truth bombs. Take a listen.
I mean, doesn't the Quran say that men have authority over women?
Well, don't they? I mean, according to your own narrative, men have been running the show. The feminists are asking for their so-called rights from who exactly? Okay, if you didn't have what you call patriarchy, then what you would have is a hell on earth for women. Because clearly, women do not have the power to coerce men, to force men, to make men deal with them this way or that way. If you're out somewhere and a man starts to chat you up and you don't want to be chatted up, what do? You tell him, I have a boyfriend, I'm married, and he goes away. You have to conjure up an imaginary man to get him to back off, because 9 times out of 10, only a man can keep another man in check, because men are inherently more dangerous than women. Instead of patriarchy, replace that word with bodyguard. What makes more sense? For you to be my bodyguard or for me to be your bodyguard? Who do you think is more capable of protecting who? From who? If men didn't protect women, who would? Why, men would do whatever they wanted. And isn't your bodyguard responsible for you? Shouldn't you listen to him if he says, for example, don't go here, don't go there, or let's take this route instead of that route because it's safer? Isn't that authority?
Yeah.
But he's doing it for you. Would you feel resentment about that authority? That's irrational. Look, you cannot dismiss the importance of physicality, human physicality. We're physical beings. Technology does not level the field the way you think it does. And if you were walking in the street by yourself late at night and you see a man coming towards you, which one of the two of you is more likely to be afraid? Who's going to be scared of who? But see, you in the West have confused this. The feminists have confused this. The power imbalance, that literal physical power imbalance, that imbalance in the ability to coerce and exert force and to be violent, is just a fact and a reality of the power imbalance between men and women. But your culture is in love with power. It's in love with force. It's in love with violence. So to you, whoever has the greater capacity for violence, whoever has the greater capacity for being dangerous, then that person is better. The one who can exert his will is better. Whoever has the power to force people to do something is better. And whoever is weaker is less. It's because you admire power so much, and you admire force, and you admire the ability to coerce, that you find yourself resenting that men have authority over women, or the idea, the concept of men having authority over women, because you think it's unfair. You think that women are being deprived. But remove that authority and see how deprived you'll be. Remove that authority and you will be in danger. You will be deprived of your safety. You'll be deprived of your security, your freedom, and maybe your life. You invent a concept, this concept of equality, and treat it as sacred, and you believe in it religiously, with religious devotion, and you demand that everyone believes in it, and no one can dare doubt the reality and the holy truth of the concept of equality, even though all evidence that you are exposed to on a daily basis disproves that concept. So you'll make fun of us and you'll look down on us and you'll insult our intelligence for believing in something that you say we don't have any proof for. Meanwhile, you're believing in something for which all of the proof that exists disproves it. You see how incoherent your thinking process is?
You see, all modern feminism has to their advantage are words. And a lot of people might say the pen is mightier than the sword. That's true to an extent. I'm a writer. I know the power of words. especially well-written words. However, in order for words to be effective, they have to make sense. There has to be truth in those words. And without that truth, you're just dealing with Disney. And that's what the feminist movement is, basically. Disney. Because there's no truth behind it. If you take away the patriarchy, what does feminism have? Nothing. Women would be in danger without the patriarchy. The patriarchy is what keeps us safe. Because if you take those laws away, again, we have nature. We have the nature of man and the nature of woman, which is not just the emotional nature, it's also the physical nature. And that, as women, we do not want to confront because we know what it means. We have no foot to stand on. We are physically weak compared to men. The only demographic of human beings on this planet that women have an advantage over are children. And we utilize that advantage as well. So without the structure of patriarchy, you would have men dominating women, women dominating children, and children dominating each other. That's the way it works. That's the totem pole of power. And as he stated in this video, as a culture, we are obsessed with violence and strength and dominance. What it boils down to, the anger that's in a lot of women. We're jealous of men. And I don't care what you say to me. That is the truth. Because you know what physical strength means. You know what dominance means. And you know you don't have it. So you're trying to write it into history. And good luck with that. Good luck with trying to write something fantastical. Yeah, you might end up with a movie like Avatar. Visually beautiful, fantastical. But in real life, it doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. There are no blue people. You might have movies like She-Hulk and other films where women have an unimaginable amount of strength where they can go toe-to-toe with men. But as we know, that is not real life, right? And feminism is not real life. It's a fantasy. It's a dream. What the man said in this video is reality, and that reality terrifies us. So hence, feminism, trying to create some illustrious words that is going to make men feel guilty about their nature. Good luck. Yeah, it might work with some guys, but guys are not going to give up who they are. And we're always going to need men, no matter what. And women can sit there fantasizing about a world where men don't exist. Good luck with that too, because men are always going to be here. So will bears and other animals that we're afraid of. They're always going to be here. Nothing you can do. That's the planet we live on. So keep working with your words. Keep trying to make men feel guilty. Keep trying to make men feel that we need an egalitarian planet. Egalitarianism doesn't exist. Equality does not exist between the genders. It simply does not. You could give people rights. We have those. I can vote. I can work. I can do what I want to do. But what more do you want? You want to bend the very nature of men? It won't happen. Because men are different. And so are you.
My first marriage, I got married when I was 24. I messed that up. The second one,
Just went to the next video. And
This man is dropping
YouTube
truth bombs.
wouldn't let me stop it in time. Very interesting video. I think there's a lot of things I do agree with, but I'd like to hear from my panelists First, Black Steel. Does this man destroy feminism?
I don't think he destroys feminism. I think that he's really so there's different types of feminism, right? So it kind of varies on the level, but you have on the furthest, the craziest, the wackiest versions of feminism are what you call the radical feminists. So the radical feminists believe that men are inherently violent, men are inherently dangerous. Testosterone is the most dangerous chemical in the world. As a rad fem would say. So a radical feminist hearing these sentiments would come to the conclusion that, hey, we just simply need to eradicate all men, because if they're going to be violent with us, we just need to eradicate them all. I think that's a ridiculous thing. I don't think she's really destroying feminism or this man, but I think he's really speaking to some of the paternalistic aspects that patriarchy has, in that men tend to protect their women and children because they are weaker. They're not as physically strong as men are. So I kind of think he's speaking to just the paternalistic aspects of patriarchy. That, truth be told, I'm not a woman, but I believe most women don't really have an issue with that particular aspect of patriarchy. They don't mind the protection, they don't mind the providing, they don't mind the other aspects of patriarchy that benefits them. But it's some of the other aspects of patriarchal control that they have an issue with. Speaking as that's what feminists do. The violence, the not being paid equally for the same amount of work. I think that's the issue they have. I think most feminists probably wouldn't have an issue with certain aspects of patriarchy. I think they actually benefit from it. No one's going to expect women to get out on the front line and join the draft, or if somebody breaks in your house, you're not expecting your woman to go see what it is. So I think that most feminists, even though they complain about patriarchy, there's aspects of it that they really don't have a problem with. I think these women, they really consider it to be get rid of male dominated control. They wouldn't like that world. These women don't want to cut the grass. They don't want to pay bills, but they think all of a sudden, if the patriarchy goes away, all of that responsibilities, those will be on you now. And I don't think that that's something that they really, really want. So I don't think he really destroys feminism, but I do think that he does highlight some of the benefits that patriarchy has for women. This woman here, I don't know, she doesn't seem like a very nice person. Maybe it's just me. I just think her energy just kind of, I don't know. But when she said that women and men are equal, I don't necessarily ascribe to that, because men and women are different. They are, but I think we complement each other. So where women might be weak in some things, they're stronger. They're strong in other things. So even though we're not equal in ability, we are equal in value. All right. So I'm not going to say that men and women aren't equal. I think that it's coming from a very Eurocentric European idea where men and women are in conflict, whereas with an African worldview, men and women complement each other. And I think we have to realize that feminism, the idea of feminism, comes from a Western worldview where white women were not given the spoils of empire that as white men went across the globe. So this is really what feminism really is, a reaction. It's reactionary. It's not a revolutionary movement. It's reaction that white women had to not being included with in the white man's genocidal wars and conquests. So with that in mind, I don't think that African people really do have the same issues. And when we do have the issues, many times it's because we've accepted a European mindset and worldview. So I'll leave it there. I'll let Juana speak. Thank you.
I think I think in this, and I think this is what he's speaking to as well. I think in this European defined reality that we live in, where they have power and they have their reasons for always seeking out power, right? Which is what he was talking about. I think this guy is destroying feminism from the respect that if you, that thing that they call patriarchy, which Black Steel just mentioned as, you know, they like some things, but not all the things. I think what he's getting at is for what it is and how it keeps you protected and what the alternative would be if you take away that ability for your protection. He's saying, don't say you like some of the things, just like it. Like, don't push back against me if I'm the guy who's taking the bullet in service to you and your protection. So whatever other little bullshit comes out of that type of thing, yeah, just go with it. And let's not hear you complaining with your feminism talk. You know, Buana, what say you to all of it?
No, I don't. I completely disagree with him. I think his arguments are flawed, and I think that they are extremely hypocritical. And I'm gonna give you my reasons. First of all, he said that technology is not an equalizer. I beg to disagree, because technology can't force us to be equal. And the reason why I say that is that if you put a gun into a woman's hand and she is angry enough and she instructs a man to do a particular thing, he is going to yield to that for fear of great harm or death. So even if she is 120 pounds and that man is 260 pounds, she still could exert her force over him and basically make him do what she wishes. So technology has becomes the great equalizer in that scenario.
What happens
Also,
when he has gun too?
Let me finish. I'll let you go, because I didn't hear you. Also, in terms of protection, now Brother Bakari teaches women how to shoot. He ain't teaching women how to shoot for themselves. He's teaching them to ensure that they can protect themselves if they have no man. Because there are many women they are manless. You know what I mean? So they have to use that technology to be the great equalizer. Second, this whole idea of might makes right. Now, if you believe in that philosophy, then we are part of the animal kingdom. And we are one of the weakest animals in the animal kingdom. If might makes right, the elephant is really supposed to be governing over all the other animals in the animal kingdom, including human beings, since we are the weakest. You know, but the reason why they are not able to is because we have the ability to reason and think. This is the reason why we survive in the savannas of Africa. You know, around all them predatory animals, we was able to outthink them. That's how we was able to dominate and control them. So the suggestion to believe that a man has the ability to think better than a woman, that becomes a different argument. Because I believe that some women are just as cunning, just as sharp, and can harm man with the fact that they are cunning and sharp over men. Now, men have the false belief that they're the best thinkers because of the gender. That's a ridiculous notion. I think that men and a man have the ability to think, a woman have the ability to think. This is what puts us at the top of the animal kingdom. So it's not necessarily that might was making us right. It's the fact that we can outthink all the animals in the animal kingdom. That's what puts us at the top of the food chain in the animal kingdom. And that ability to think is beyond just the male gender. You know, that extends to the female gender as well. Let me just say that. Not one last thing that I wanted to say is the idea of him putting this whole idea of power over onto the Western world, saying that the Western world has these considerations of might makes right. Well, the Islamists, the Eastern countries in the Islamic world, they exert power over their women through force as well. So they believe in might makes right because they force their women to do all kind of things all the time. You know, so I don't know where he coming with this. Because if you doing the same thing as the Western man doing in the Western world, then you believe the same kinds of ideas and concepts. So you believe in the idea of power and control. It's just that you pushing it off onto your woman. Whereas in the Western world, it may not be. Now, I find it weird that I arguing for the Western man, but I'm just saying there's this whole idea of might makes right. If we want to play that game, the whole thing is that the strongest animal supposed to be at the head of the food chain, and it's only because we are the thinking animal in the animal kingdom that puts us at the top of the food chain. And I think that is a genderless discussion, because a woman could be just as intelligent as a man is. And as far as technology is the great equalizer. If you put a 357 in a woman's hand, and she weighs 135 pounds, she can make a 300-pound man do whatever she wants him to do. But go ahead, Coco. I didn't get your question though.
No, I think. Well, first to begin with, I think he's not speaking on a per person or individual level. He's talking on a world scale. You take away men being protectors of women, just protecting them, because, like you said, we're part of the thing called animals. You take down that protection of men, because men like to seek out power, blah blah blah. Right? You take that away. He's telling women, do you know what your world would look like if you took that away? So that led to my question, because you was talking about women having the right to bear arms too. My question was, well, what happens when that man is also bearing arms? And then what happens? And then what happens when the arms run out?
Well, in that, if you are in a situation where two people equally have firearms, then they are on equal footing. Nobody needs protection over nobody else. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to die, and nor do I. In that scenario, then we are on equal footing. That's what I say. The technology is the great equalizer. But if the argument is without technology, of course, nature comes in. When nature comes in, of course, the man is going to dominate in that scenario. But like I say, technology becomes the great equalizer.
I mean, what are we really asking? Are we really talking about if it came down to like a physical battle between men and women, who would win?
They are talking about force and power.
Yeah,
power.
I think that. Well, one thing about it is that women have the capacity to be violent just as much as men do, but women's strength might not be necessarily physical. Women poison men all the time. Women can get you while you're sleeping. I don't think women are smart enough to know not to do a head-to-head direct confrontation with the man that they're with. But to his point, when you deal with these violent men in public, then yeah, women are going to look towards other men to support them. I don't really think that's what feminism is about. I don't think, unless you're talking about radical feminists, they're the ones who want to kill all men. And I think a rad fem would basically say, hey, we need men to protect us from other men, therefore men are the problem. If men are so violent that you need other men to correct them, then the problem is men. I don't think that's true. I understand that most men are not violent. The overwhelming majority of men have no desire to hurt anybody, except in maybe self-defense. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, what is it that he's pushing? I mean, because if you really think about it, what is that that so-called feminine, what do they really want? What do they desire? Do they desire for men to not be in control, or do they desire just merely to have the same rights that men have? I don't necessarily have a problem with that, to be honest. I don't think that women should be mistreated in any way because they're women. Now, when you go on that crazy stuff that men are inherently dangerous, I think that When you get into that second wave feminism, you get into that third wave feminism, okay, we got a problem. But for the very idea that, hey, women are people, they should have rights, they shouldn't be mistreated or discriminated against because they're women, I don't necessarily see a problem with that. I don't think most men see a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't believe in the whole white women feminism. I don't believe in the white women feminist movement. You know, I'm a humanist kind of individual. You know, I believe in it, there should be a certain amount of equality. My idea is not to beat up on a woman and say you won't do what I say. You know, despite the fact that you disagree. I think the white women feminism taking it too far. They, like this whole idea of they are reactionaries. They're reacting against their men, and we like some chimpanzees. We like to parrot everything the so-called dominant Western culture decides to do. And there are some things where we should just move away from. Say that ain't for us. But unfortunately, many of our women go into academia and they get indoctrinated with these ideas of so-called feminism and we don't need a man culture, and they try to sell that message to other women, and it's a nonsense. Like Carl would say that both of us is on the plantation, getting beat up and harmed and mistreated. Yeah, we are not in. That is not our fight. There are some westernized fights that is created in the Western world that we should opt out of. And I don't understand. We have such a interest to be included into everything that we want to include ourselves in these kinds of discussion. Our black women should not be in this feminist discussion. It has nothing to do with us. If white women want to rage against their husbands, their boyfriends, their daddies and shit like that, it has nothing to do with you. Stay out of that. You know what I mean? You cool. But I'll leave it. I'm ranting.
And I agree with you, Juan. Another thing too that I want to say is that, so one of the feminist ideas is that, if you put women in positions of power and authority, it'll be more humane and better because women tend to be kinder and more humane. And I don't see that. We could list several women heads of state, women politicians who are just as violent and bloodthirsty as men. Didn't Libya get destroyed where Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State? She bragged about how they killed Gaddafi. What's the one chick in Israel, the Prime Minister, Golda Meir?
Yeah, Golda Meir, Margaret Thatcher, all of them.
All of them. Queen Elizabeth, all of these white women in positions of authority and power. We don't see these feminists, all they really want is inclusion. They don't really want to challenge patriarchy. They just want to be included with the bullshit, So when you have, in Israel, if you have women in the IDF killing Palestinians, that's okay because you got women too. It doesn't matter if we're killing people as long as women are doing it too. So I agree with you. I don't believe that African people need to be any parts of this feminism. I think that our white women's beef with white men needs to be with their white men. Leave us out of it.
I agree with both of you. We should stay out of it. Bakari is here. Bakari, how are you this week?
What's up? What's on everybody? The panel. The chat.
We got to take it to the Yahweh level. We're taking it to the Yahweh level.
Everybody that loves Clarissa Shields.
Bakari, start
Can
over.
You hear me?
Because we couldn't hear you, but start over because we can hear you now.
I say, Bawana say I'm taking it to Yahweh level. I say the black woman is God, but sometimes that God can get on your nerve. But anyway, like Clarissa Shields, we have all loved Clarissa Shields. All black men, everybody has supported Clarissa Shields. Now she has hopped on this thing. First, she said women should fight 3-minute rounds. Okay. Now she out here and she want to start challenging men. You know how bad that look? This black woman out here, you won't even accept that black men say you're the greatest woman of all time. You want to challenge men to prove that you are better than them. she's the number 3 best boxer in history, regardless of man or woman. And that's that feminism. She was on this. She was all one moment. I'll give it to her. She support her brothers. She support black folk. But now she done went off since she done became 3-time undisputed. In her last fight, she made a whole. And it's like she has changed. And now she has gotten on that talking about. She might as well just say woman power. And a woman is as strong as a man, because she is literally challenging world champions, people who was unified world champions, because she thinks she can beat them because she's naturally a little bigger than them. And that's that feminism nonsense that we should not be a part of at all. And she's running away. And I just wanted to use her for an example because I like boxing and I like Clarissa Shields. Her uncle, whoever, they need to get her, they need to get her in check. Stay in a woman place. You're not physically strong enough to be out here fighting a man named Keith One-Time Thurman, who been known to knock people out with grown men out with one punch. What you think he gonna do to you if he hit you? Come on, man. These women and these black women, we can't get on that feminist bandwagon. We got to let that nonsense
go. Let her do it. Let her do it. Let her see what it's like. Let her do it.
and
you know what? A lot of people say that. A lot of people say that.
But Brother Bakari, you know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen? If someone in her weight class, a man in her weight class, a professional boxer, was to fight her and knock her on her ass, the whole world can say, you know what, he shouldn't have mistreated that black woman like that. You see, they don't take care of us. They don't protect us. they won't beat us up. You see?
No man in his right mind would fight. That's a lose-lose situation. If you win, you knocked out a woman. If you lose, you got knocked out by a woman. So no matter what way you look at it, it's a lose-lose situation. I would never, ever do that.
Yep. And you know, Keith Thurman was like, I will put on 16-ounce gloves and you can put on headgear, and that way you don't have to worry about me hurting you, and let's do it for charity. I don't have to get paid. Let's donate. Let's make some money and donate the money to, because she have her children. I give her props. She do stuff for black kids, not just the girl. And they can just donate the money to her children organization. Oh, that's disrespectful to her. He need to watch his step. He need to tread lightly, watch his words. I'm like, what the hell? Somebody needs to check this woman. You not as physically strong as a man. You 154 pounds, he 147. He gonna knock your, and he gonna knock your ass out. I understand more people gonna know her name now because she's talking shit. Pardon my French on your panel, man. I'm sorry. And you know, you go to talking noise, saying crazy stuff, people will know who you are. So she will sell more fights next time or whatever. But she need to be talking about something else. She's always trying to step to a black man, but Keith Thurman is mulatto, and there was another black guy she said something about, and I've been sparring with him. Andre Durrell is my uncle, and she didn't learn from when she sparred with a couple of guys who said he won't hit her in the face, just beat her in her stomach. Now she has made it, and she's on white women channels, and now some of the things that she's saying is starting to change, and I'm just getting sick and tired of this damn feminist BS.
I said let her fight. She talking that trash. I said equal rights mean equal lefts. Let her fight.
But yeah, Carl, but man, but I understand what y'all mean, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I know y'all thought I was just gonna come up here and take up for the black woman. I only take up for her when she needs somebody to take up for her. When they ass need to be put in check, shit. Somebody need to shake the shit up, put them back in check. I ain't saying be physical with no woman, but we do need to, when it's time for them to be put in check, they have to be put in check. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to see no man her size or no man period go out there and beat her. Because if y'all know boxing, and if she fight Keith Thurman and he literally hit her with his power, she might kill her. But she's challenging men. She's challenging men now.
Brian, you seen Rocky 4? With
yeah.
If he dies,
she's gonna get hurt. She's gonna get hurt, and the world is gonna look at that. Look at black men and say, you see, they like to beat up that. Nah. No professional boxer should take up that fight. Just leave her. Let her talk. Just noise in the background.
Let me add to that. She ain't gonna have no gun in the ring. And that gets back to the point what the guy was making.
That's true.
That gets back to the point the guy was making when it gets down to that brutality. When it gets down to that brutality, if you take away, this idea of patriarchy, what you gonna do? And that's what he's talking about. The same thing with Thurman and Clarissa Shield. What you gonna do? Ain't no gun in that ring. So that's what he was kind of getting at. Bakari, thank you. You pleasantly surprised me with how you came at it. But you reminded me about that Clarissa thing. I have been taking notice of it for a little while, and I was like, wow, I'm surprised more men aren't talking about this. And thank you for bringing that up here tonight.
Yeah, man, no problem. I know y'all think I just be caping for women all the time. But I don't. I don't just cape on. She needs to. I'm just, that feminism and this black woman feminism is out. So I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna finish watching this game. I'm watching the I Love, and I'm gonna keep listening to y'all at the same time. And I'm gonna probably go live when you finally finish. I'll probably catch another topic that I want to speak on while I listen, because my TV on mute, but I'm listening to y'all. I'm listening to y'all and watching the game at the same time.
I appreciate that. And I encourage that too. You guys, the way this show goes, you could be playing a video game, you could be watching something that doesn't need sound, and you could be listening to these shows. So I appreciate that. Let's welcome in MG2 this week.
Hey,
MG2,
peace.
how are you?
Always good. Hope you guys' health is okay.
Yes, sir.
Respect, MG2.
Hey, peace. You live long enough, and I just had a birthday. I've been on this planet for, I'll just put it this way. 50 seems like a lifetime ago. I don't even remember.
Wow. Happy birthday, brother.
Oh, thanks. I can't even remember 50. It's been so many years. So you live long enough, and you get to wonder if there's anything new. It's like nothing phases me at this point. And what I mean by this is a lot of the things that have to do with gender, feminism, especially this, the video that you played. I really like the guy's perspective. He's an Arab, and he's an Arab that speaks on, issues that are, basically Eurocentric issues, which, hey, I don't mind. I listen to anyone to learn. But the thing that really, like I say, you live long enough, and sooner or later, nothing will surprise you. But the thing that really got me is, in terms of this feminism and whatnot, that's above my pay grade. I've seen things for 60 years at least, and things that just don't matter at this late stage of the game, and especially that should not matter for black folk. Okay, there's a lot more prioritized things than what individuals may feel on their social level. And the reason I say that is unless you own and control all aspects of your destiny, including where you get your water, because all of us have to pay some other race in order to go ahead and feed us and to clothe us and to give us water. That's just the nature of the game. Being that that's a real truism that we all live, then these other issues might not necessarily be as prioritized as, feminism and, Eurocentric so-called labels and euphemisms. And the reason I say that is I'm glad that Brother Bakari brought up Clarissa Shields. To say silliness is an understatement. The fact, what it does is it's not just what is happening with black females trying to go ahead and prove this Eurocentric so-called feminism. What it is a reflection of us as black males. And that's a sick thing that unfortunately many of us don't have introspection or responsibility in terms of even, presenting ourselves. Clearly that's the case. Otherwise we would be in control of all aspects of our destiny, including the guns we go ahead and make, and the bullets we make, including the water systems we should own and the power systems and whatnot. So clearly we're at a deficit in terms of where other folks are, in other words, we're living a very prepubescent lifestyle as black males. Other folks are continually taking care of us, all of us. So clearly the Clarissa Shields is, and the black females and all these others that are talking this feminist nonsense, that's just a reflection of our position as brothers. And many of us don't look at that because it hurts that thing that we don't deserve called an ego. Yet we go ahead and let our egos go ahead, or I should say the displacement of our egos is literally basically the bellwether stock of our existence. And what I mean by that is until we control all aspects of the things that other folks are definitely providing us, we have no means to talk. And what will happen is you'll see more Clarissa Shields come out of the woodwork, which is unfortunately. That feminism nonsense is no different than a roach. One comes out, and next thing you're going to have a thousand of it. The thing, what I mean by that is, and I got to be mean with it. I definitely have to beat up on us as brothers because it's a reflection of what we're not doing for ourselves. Look at the platforms we're talking on. Do we own and control this? No. Do we own and control the servers? Did we manufacture the computers? Do we have the energy that provides the electricity for us to be able to talk to each other online with somebody else monitoring it? No. So clearly that even if it's subconscious, will go to another, to the female counterpart of your species. Even if it's subconscious, they know you don't own this, you don't control this. So therefore, you have a lot less more masculinity than somebody else who does. I do not see even the so-called white feminists. That's nonsense. Like I said, it's a Eurocentric thing. And Black Still said something earlier, and I posted it in the chat. White females were, it wasn't that they weren't included in white male conquest. They were included by all steps of their conquest. Okay, white females were there from can't see in the morning to can't see at night, like they did when we were in the fields picking and laboring. But the thing is white females want to be recognized and celebrated like they're white males. That's where this feminist nonsense is. Okay, but that's their thing. It should not be our thing. That's their thing because they own and control not only us, but other societies. They basically own and control the things that we need and other folks need. Look at their so-called currency. We call it seigniorage. Those of you who trade currencies should know that, or bonds, you should know what seigniorage is. The fact that their mechanisms or that they've centralized all aspects of an economy that we unfortunately are dependent on, clearly that puts us in a lot less masculine, for lack of a better term, or a lot less significant because of the fact that someone else's mechanisms is something we have to rely on, unfortunately. So therefore, what would be the reflection of that? It would be females that would say, well, look, you don't own this. You don't control this. You didn't make that table or make those shoes. You didn't make that cell phone. You didn't. So even if, like I said, if it's subconscious or unconscious, it still is a realism that many of us are too unfortunate to face. So the thing is I got to ask the brothers, and I got to tell you, what do you, no, I won't ask because maybe I'll come back and ask this question because it's going to hurt a lot of feelings. Let me just put it this way. These females that are doing what they do, these black females, for lack of a better term, if you see the product of it, look at where the black male is now. Look at Fred Hampton back in the 60s and look at any 22-year-old black male today. It's two different worlds. That is the reflection. Black males today, in their 50s, are so effeminized, it's unreal. The preponderance of their life is hip hop and whatever nonsense they could get into in the street. This is not just the 22-year-olds; these are the folks that are 55. So clearly, they're for lack of a better term, manhood is something that is not it's not just given to you; it's something that's deserved, and you could see the reflection of that manhood by the condition of your women. If you are out there to conquer, to destroy, to create, or even like that little cracker did earlier today and killed 3 of us in a dollar store to prove a point. If you're out there to conquer for what's yours, that's something that's deserved, okay? If you know that you're at war with other individuals for just the ability to go, then that's manhood. And women will see that, even if they don't see it consciously, they'll see it subconsciously. And then, unlike every other race, I should say, no, every other race gets it. You will not see their sons out there, with rappers talking about, they wear a dress and that they can get pregnant. Anyways, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, MG2. I have an accountant to give you because the last time I spoke to you, the last time you spoke to one platform we was on, I think that either was 4Kast or Brother Bakari. You said that talk basically, and I'm paraphrasing. Talk is cheap. What are you doing on a daily basis to change the community the community with which you come from? So I thought about that for a long time. That kind of resonated because you kind of like was poking us. So I had to get back on my horse on the curriculum, the financial literacy curriculum that I initially started in approaching schools, and I left it alone because I got such negative responses. So I got back on my horse, and I thought to myself, MG2 is a numbers man. What are you doing? So I approached 5 different schools so far, recently, and I've gotten 2 responses back, from principals saying that they want to meet with me in terms of trying to get a curriculum started in terms of financial literacy. I wanted to let you know that because you are a numbers person and you like specificities, so I just really wanted to give an accountant for that earlier conversation we had, but that's neither here nor there.
I remember that conversation that night. Yeah, I do remember that.
Hold on, can I say something really quick? Can we stop talking about women like they're children? Because they're not. Women are adults. Women make choices irrespective of what men do. And I think we have to realize that we can't put women's faults on men because women aren't children. Women are fully adults who can make their own decisions. This whole thing about it's our fault, I don't buy that. Women are fully capable of making their own decisions.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad this brother just said that, and because what you said just taught me something. That cell phone or that computer that you used to go ahead and make that statement, who made it?
Probably somebody in Korea. What's your point?
The thing is it's not about women making mistakes. Women are a reflection of either what we are or what we aren't. If we as brothers take over this world, these conversations would be a joke.
I don't necessarily agree with that because there's plenty of oppressed people in this world whose women don't talk like that. What are Native Americans manufacturing? What are the Vietnamese and the Koreans? They're still oppressed, but their women don't talk like that.
Vietnamese and Koreans have an infrastructure. Matter of fact, in terms of numbers, and I love this kind of conversation. In the 90s, black folks, i.e., those who don't think, and especially brothers who don't think that in other words, they have no faults. The velocity of money was over, I think it was like $800 billion a year. No, it was more than that. The velocity of money that went through. Vietnamese had a lot less velocity of money that went through our hands. Today, the Vietnamese are 13 times more what they do, 13 times more than the black folks over here. The Vietnamese in Cambodia, especially in Westminster, California, especially what they call these little Saigon towns and whatnot. And that's just what their relationship with a Eurocentric economy in terms of production. I think it's either Vietnamese or it might be the palm oil, or it might be the I'm trying to remember it is because I know that through an IMF they went ahead and made deals where their economy, matter of fact, they're trying to get them into BRICS because of the fact that their GDP has definitely been soaring. Okay, and a lot of that has to do with those that live in United Snakes. So if those that say that they're not producing and they're not manufacturing, black folks who have more of the velocity of money right now than they did in the 90s by like 2 times, unfortunately, we manufacture and produce nothing. Okay, at nothing, not only of significance, but nothing, zero, because we're still subjected. Koreans, the thing that you're using for a computer, the velocity of money that they had, they were actually underneath in the 90s. They didn't, in terms of the amount of money that was going through their hands in the 90s, was like 70% of what was going on through black folks. Nowadays, it would take us 200 years to catch up with them. So, I mean, it is what it is. So I'm glad you said that. I'll pass the mic.
Carl, did you want to respond, or did anyone else want to?
No, go ahead. I'm driving right now. I might lose my signal. I had to run off, but we can continue to the next topic.
Okay. Does anyone else want to add any last thoughts here? All right. So I guess I'll go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. I want to thank everyone who's here tonight on the panel, in the chat. I appreciate you guys. You could have been doing something else, listening to something else. So I appreciate you guys, especially you guys who who join the panel and make all these conversations more interesting. Shout out to Azuli, who's in the chat too, by the way. Shout out to everyone who's here. Shoot the Breeze.